What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast, episode number 249. I'm Jeff James. With me, as always, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Fultz. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. 249. That's wild.
I know, dude.
That seems unreal. Like 250 is next week. That's crazy. We gotta figure something cool out.
No, it's insane, dude. I mean, like it's crazy to think that there's been 249 of these. I mean, mind you, the beginning we definitely kind of sped up a bit because we were doing this twice a week.
Yeah.
So that definitely got us up there. But yeah, holy shit.
That's a lot of episodes.
Oh yeah.
A lot of episodes.
It's a ton of episodes. But anyways,
how are you?
Oh, shit. Okay, talk about me. All right. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing all right. I'm not doing too bad. Just chilling. Fuck, wish the weather was better. Fuck.
Like I was on vacation last week.
Yeah.
Vacation. I just stayed home, but my kids were on spring break, and I was planning on playing baseball and all this good stuff, and it rained all damn week.
My annoyance.
Lovely springtime.
My annoyance with it right now is that we get like one good day. Like today. Or no, sorry, yesterday. Right?
Yesterday.
Yeah. It was like 70 degrees. Uh-huh. And it was nice. Got outside
windy,
with a t-shirt and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. And then today, boom, drops like a rock to like 40 degrees. And you're like, what the fuck is this? You know? And then it's going to rain for the next like 5 days.
God. I'm going to have to start mowing again here soon. This is bullshit.
Don't get me fired up.
I'm going to take away from Elden Ring time.
Don't get me fired up about mowing, dude. It's almost lawn season, baby. You know it. No, let's talk some bullshit, though, before we talk video games. This morning at 6 a.m, I come downstairs and hear my wife go, Jeff, oh, no. And I went, what? I just immediately went, fuck. Just even hearing the oh no. And last night I knew that there was wind coming in, so I took down over our back deck. I took down the canopy, and I brought it. I pinned it down in the back. But all of I woke up and
cushions.
Oh, not just the cushions, dude. The whole outdoor furniture set, like the couch blew into my fucking neighbor's backyard.
Oh no.
So I was out there at 6 a.m. dragging my couch across 2 fucking lawns.
Oh no.
Bringing it back into the back porch or back deck. And then all the chairs went everywhere. Dude, it's fucking terrible.
It was awful.
It was horrendous.
Awful.
It was not good. No bueno on that one. But anyways, enough about my back deck and everything. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, welcome. We are not a lawn mowing nor a home improvement podcast. We are indeed a video game podcast. Each and every single week, Brody and I go through the news, digest it, throw it up back into your ears, and then you take it in as knowledge. Every week, I also try to find some fucked up way of expressing how we do this. That also like makes you think.
Mama bird, baby bird type situation, except for into the ears.
It gets you thinking, though. Right? You're thinking about it right now. The person in their car right now driving 60 miles an hour, about to rear end the back of that other vehicle right now, is thinking too hard about what I just said.
I'm not. I don't like it.
Your insurance and registration is in your glove box. Anyways, every single Thursday evening, 9:30 Eastern time, King time zone, by the way, we go live on YouTube and Twitch to bring you Diggity, a video game podcast. And then if you can't catch the video version, don't worry about it. Don't worry your sweet little ears, your sweet little eyes. It's all right. The audio version comes out Friday morning, the butt crack of dawn, the ass crack of dawn, the bungholio of dawn. Mm-hmm. There's inside jokes behind that, too, if you go back about 4 podcasts. But yeah, you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcasts. And we give pretty blunt opinions on this show, and people like that. So thank you. We're also kind of growing, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
You know, hey,
we're doing the thing.
Hey, that's cool. We're growing. You know, no big deal. You can also check out Spawn Camp as well. Sorry, on YouTube, which is our YouTube channel, where we also put up a bunch of different content with other content creators like WSAD and beyond. Yes.
And the easiest way to find it, because
yes.
we're still trying to get that
subscribe
nice link,
to Spawn Camp, by the way. We get to 100 subs, we can get our own custom link, and then we don't have to find a loophole to find our shit.
Yeah. If you search Spawn Camp Podcasts, we will come up. That is the easiest way to find us currently because we recently changed the name. We had Diggity in a situation where you could actually find it pretty easy, and now we're starting back over once we switch the name. So we got to get that recognition back up and everything. And
we're getting there.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
We're getting there.
We'll
make it happen.
But with everything else, as per tradition, what have you been playing, my friend?
Go ahead and take a guess.
Fucking Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. No, so I played, I think when we did the podcast last week, I'd done, an hour and a half of Tiny Tina's. I probably am sitting somewhere between like 6 to 8 hours of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands now. Somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
Still really enjoying it. Again, it is a different skin basically on a Borderlands game, but it works, and I enjoy the narration of Tiny Tina being just absolutely batshit insane and everything that's going on there. But no, so far it's very, very good. But I still have not been able to fully pry myself away from Elden Ring. I was planning on playing a lot more Tiny Tinas this week, and there's just so much more shit I want to do in Elden Ring, and I'm right at about 60 hours, I think, now. And I still have a lot to do in that game. So,
Jesus.
Fantastic. What have you been playing?
Man, so I've played a melody of a bunch of shit. So, I guess tonight counts. I had my nieces over. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law decided to go and get a fridge because theirs went out, which fucking sucks right now, too, with supply chain issues.
Oh, that's awful.
That's awful.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dave at ABC Warehouse for fucking up so hard.
Shout out, Dave.
Yeah, way to go, Dave. You shitbagger. I played. Oh my God, Crossy Road Plus on Apple Arcade, and I fucked around with some games on Apple Arcade on my Apple TV. That was hilarious. But in actual video games that I played, I've played a little bit more of NHL. We're getting into playoff season, baby. Go Leafs, go! And the biggest thing I played is GTA. Played a bit of Spider-Man. Trying to get everything all figured out and get every trophy. I haven't platted that yet, so just kind of just messed around. But the big one was GTA. So I bought and played the GTA. I guess we can call it remaster, or do we want to call it enhanced? I mean, would we enhanced?
I'd just say PS5 version.
Okay, yeah. So I played the PS5 version of GTA 5. I really like it. So I bought GTA 5. We both bought it. 2 months into owning the PS5? Is that correct?
Yeah, it was
something like that. And I played a bit of it, but I really didn't get far into the story, and I didn't really mess around too much. I kind of just downloaded it, and I was like, yeah, this would be neat to play on here. And then obviously it wasn't updated at that point, and also didn't have other features in it. And both Brody and I really don't play GTA Online. We just never really gotten into it. We've tried multiple times, just can't do it. But this version, I do find myself playing it more. One, yeah, it looks a lot better. It doesn't look great. I mean, it doesn't look perfect. You know what I mean? It looks like a game that was updated for another console. It's not obviously built for it. But what really did it for me was the 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
Helps a lot. You don't realize how chunky and blocky the movements are in that game until you play at 60 frames per second and you've got the nice ray tracing going on. Pro tip:
the load times are better too, which is
certainly
a godsend.
Yeah, the load times are much better. When you're switching characters, it takes no time at all. When you're going into different story modes, if you want to replay a story, it takes 15 seconds. Loading
which is
up,
a far cry from what it used to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. when loading up for the first time, I mean, it doesn't take that long at all either. So it's really nice from that perspective. The pro tip I'd have for people is on the PS5. I can't 100% say for certain that this is what happened, but I think it's what happened to me. But basically, you have RT performance, and then we'll call it enhanced or fidelity, whatever. Automatically, it was set for me to just RT enhance, which does not give you 60 frames per second. It gives you 30 frames per second, but it gives you ray tracing. But if you're on a PS5, and the reason for that is because on the PS4 Pro, that's all it can do. But on the PS5, you can select the fidelity mode, and which gives you 60 frames per second and ray tracing. So I don't know. I'm having more fun with it because it just works better.
Yeah,
like performance wise. Like honestly, if I had the same graphics and it was just running at 60, I would be happy.
Really? Yeah.
Like if the textures were all the same, I really wouldn't give a shit. But I mean, you know, it's
not
whatever.
a hideous game to begin with, right? Like
no, it still stands.
It's older. It shows its age, but it's not an ugly game.
No, there's just little shit like, but I mean, it's even like it's an older game, like you said. There's even little shit where the differences between that game and like Red Dead Redemption 2, just on their core principles, are so different too. Not necessarily, obviously, the terrain they're able to do a lot more with Red Dead because it's vital, and there's not really cities. There's smaller towns and shit around.
Right.
But you know, you start like the moment that it caught me was I was Franklin, and it's like one of the first couple missions. You go home, and you like it's a tutorial basically of like, hey, if you go to sleep, it saves. If you go to your closet, this is how you change your clothes. You know, all this kind of shit. And the cola bottle on the desk was like the size of like a fucking body pillow, and the cap on it was like the size of a quarter. Like, I mean, it just, you know, there's just shit like that where it just doesn't, like, it just looks cheap and cheesy because they had to build it for the fucking 360. Like, often people are forgetting this. But anyways, yeah. So I think if you were in my boots and you felt like you just couldn't dive back into it when you had the PS4 version, and you already have it on your PS5 or your Xbox Series X, upgrade for the $10. Like, I think it's totally worth it. I really do.
Really?
Like, I think you'll actually go back and play the story. Yeah, like I really do. I really think you'll enjoy it. As long as you haven't played on PC already, and like you just played it on console and you want to like it and get back into it, go for it. I haven't tested online, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak to the main actual game itself. So this is gonna be a long fucking episode, by the way, because we have so much shit to talk about. It's insane. So buckle the fuck up, people. Got your fucking Pampers on. This one's gonna be a pisser. Here we go.
Fucking pisser. So I mean, I guess we'll go ahead and head this off with our delay of the week, because this is a pretty large one.
Delay of the week.
Make it a segment.
Yep.
I'm not surprised to see this, but we still don't have a name for this. This is still being referred to as the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
I'd assume it's just going to be Breath of the Wild 2 or part
probably.
Or
it
part
might have
2.
some. It'll probably be like Breath of the Wild : something, right? Like it's going to be.
It's going to be lame.
It's going to be something dumb for sure.
It's not going to be like something like Majora's Mask or something cool. It's going to be part 2.
Right.
Is what it's going to be.
So this has been delayed to spring 2023. I am not surprised to see this at all. It has been radio silent from Nintendo for a while now. I'm disappointed, obviously. I was very, very excited for this game and still am very excited for this game, but this game is definitely, not to like bring Elden Ring into it, but everybody was talking about, you know, Game of the Year conversation at the end of the year, and it was one of those things like, well, I mean, if Breath of the Wild comes out and God of War Ragnarok comes out, then Elden Ring's going to have some pretty stiff competition. Right now, it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of competition. Maybe, I mean, obviously Horizon, but yeah, it's wild. It's weird that we are gonna go. I mean, Kirby just launched, so that was Nintendo's kind of marquee game at the moment. Is it
weird?
But
is it weird?
No, it's not really weird.
This is my thing, right? Like, I watch on Twitter, and I see people like, "Oh my god, it's delayed! I can't believe it!" It's like, bro, that's all they've been doing.
Yeah.
May I introduce Metroid?
Yeah, no kidding. I wanted Nintendo to come out strong this year. I really wanted them to put something out. Of course,
we got Kirby.
You know, the internet has been doing what the internet does, and they're spinning it into a narrative of, oh, well, they delayed it because it's going to launch alongside the next Switch, and so they delayed this game because they're waiting for the next Switch.
God
to
damn
be
it!
announced. I'm like, Jesus, you guys can't stop.
Fucking
Just stop.
Switch Pro.
Oh my God! Yeah, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
They're not going to touch hardware because it's fucking doing so well. Why would you? Why would you go through the supply chain headaches and the R&D when you're fucking killing it?
Chugging along.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Keep it up.
I'm excited for this game. It sucks to see it get delayed, but it's fine. I'll perfectly survive and move about my business. So whatever.
Here comes a car crash. I haven't played the first one. Someone just slammed into a fucking median, dude. Spin across 3 lanes, just hit that fucking median head on.
The bad part is, I'm pretty sure I've even offered to let you borrow my copy.
I do need to play it. I agree. I do
really
need to play
should.
it. I'll tell you what, I'll play it when we get a date for the second one. Because here's the thing, if I play the first one now, I finish the fucking thing, and then it takes another 1.5 years for the second one to come out, I'm not going to play the second one.
The rest of us have been waiting 5 years, my friend.
I know. This is how I work, bro. It's not. I need to be in it to get to the next one. So I love Zelda. I just wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I just liked Zelda for what it was. I thought that they changed it on this. I mean, I haven't
More
played it, so I can't speak to it. So I'm like, I just didn't know if it was my style. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you think they're gonna fucking release it?
I would not be surprised to see this get pushed back one more time into the holiday of 2023.
Because did they say spring 2023?
They did say spring 2023.
Okay. So I think that
we still don't have a title for this game.
I don't think that matters. I think what matters more is we don't really have clips or footage of the game. We probably have clips from Breath of the Wild 1 of Link standing on the fucking cliff.
Well, the little clips that they showed during this announcement, because they've shown off a trailer, and it's pretty much the same trailer they showed us last time. Like, there's a couple new things, and they're like
surprised?
The Master Sword's all fucking jagged instead of actually being the normal Master Sword.
Are we surprised?
But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that they aren't announcing a name, I know that's a very trivial thing, but typically, like, when you talked about this game 1.5 years ago, you would just go ahead and say, hey, Breath of the Wild 2 has been delayed. It's just a stupid thing, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I fully foresee this getting pushed back to holiday of 2023.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see why. I mean, might make more sense selling wise. Like, that's
I think it'll sell well regardless.
So,
I mean, because the first one launched in spring as well.
Aside from all the Nintendo Twitter, which is what I'm going to call it from now on, is like, I mean, do you think that they would at least tease the next Switch console when they launch this thing, or they're going to launch it, wait a couple months, and then tease it out? Because this is par for the course, right?
The first one got delayed a handful of times. Then it ended up getting released on the Wii U plus the Switch at the same time.
Skyward Sword also.
Like, this does seem like a game that you would use to launch the next Switch 2, right? Like, I'm not going to call it a Switch Pro. I don't think at this point we're getting a Switch Pro. I think it's going to be the next console from Nintendo when we see it. But I'm with you. I don't think it makes any sense to even do that currently. The thing's still selling gangbusters. Why would you even bother?
Yeah, it's an absolute headache to do anything new product related right now. I just don't think you want to do that. That's fucking horrendous. Yeah, I could see your holiday thing. I think they keep to this one though. I think they keep to the. I think the title of it's just going to be Breath of the Wild Part 2, and I think there's going to be additional DLC with it as well. That'll be staggered out.
I guess it didn't get delayed this last time. We didn't have a date, and then they announced the date last year. I can't remember if it was at the Game Awards or if it was E3, but one way or another, they announced it was going to be holiday season of this year, 2022. So I could see him keeping to spring 2023, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see it pushed back another 6 months.
I mean, I guess the only good thing too is that it's delayed by Nintendo. Nintendo's track record is pretty good when shit's delayed. At
when
least
they delay it, it's usually for good reason.
Yeah, it's not horrible. So, oh shit! In terms of what I played too, I played the new Mario Kart tracks.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed them.
Downloaded them. I haven't played them yet.
I mean, I enjoyed them. I think they're okay. I don't think they're the greatest tracks to lead with, but it's just my 2 cents on it. But yeah. Anyways, we done with Breath of the Wild stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's talk PlayStation Plus stuff. So, boy, PlayStation and Play Twitter for a while. PS Twitter was going pretty wild out there. I'd say pretty much a week or 2 weeks leading up to this, every news place, IGN, fucking Kotaku, whatever. I mean, Kotaku probably, said something about, I don't know, about how it's racist how we're waiting or something fucking ridiculous like that. But anyways, people were like, oh, there's going to be, this, or there's leaks all over the place. The one that I shared ended up being pretty close, just different naming nomenclature.
And there was an extra
There was one extra tier, yeah, but it follows
It's a global tier that's slightly different as well.
Yeah. But people were going wild. People were thinking it was going to be next Game Pass, and we need to discuss that because also people are stupid on Twitter and are also like, "Hey, this doesn't compete with Game Pass." And okay, we'll get into that in a second, but let's give you the rundown on this first. So there are numerous tiers now for PlayStation Plus. So the first one is PlayStation Plus Essentials. So this is going to provide you the same benefits that PlayStation Plus members are currently getting today, which includes 2 monthly downloadable games, sometimes 3. I don't know why they put 2, but
I think they're reducing the number. I think it's going to be 2 going forward. Because the third one was PS5 exclusive.
Well, also though, sometimes it was PSVR stuff too.
Right. It was usually something that was either a toss-in for the new console or VR.
Interesting. Okay, well, anyways, 2 monthly downloadable games, exclusive discounts, cloud storage for saved games, online multiplayer access, of course. There are no changes for existing PlayStation Plus members in this tier. It remains $9.99 monthly or $24.99 quarterly or $60 annually. Then we got introduced to PlayStation Plus Extra, which provides all the benefits from the Essential tier, so that's what you're getting today on PlayStation Plus, but it adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PlayStation 5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners games in the Extra tier, and they're in the Extra tier, they're downloadable for play, which is fantastic. This is $14.99 a month, $39.99 quarterly, and $99.99 annually. So $100 annually on the annual spend for this. Then we got introduced to PlayStation Plus Premium, which provides all the benefits from Essential and Extra tiers, adds up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming only, a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, the PlayStation 2, and PSP generations. PSP Vita, I might add, is left out of that PSP generations for some reason, which is fascinating to me because there's a lot of love for that. It offers cloud streaming access for original PlayStation, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games offered in the Extra and Premium tiers in applicable markets. There's some global exclusions, which I'm sure they'll bring eventually, but there's some countries that are excluded. Where PlayStation Now is currently available, customers can stream games using PS4 and PS5 consoles and PC as well, which is a big note on that. It's a big deal. Time-limited game trials will also be offered in this tier, so customers can try select games before they buy. This is $17.99 monthly, $49.99 quarterly, or $119.99 annually. So those are your tiers. I kind of want to break this down by a couple of things. So I want to talk about what I don't like about this first, because it's much shorter than what I do like about all this. Because I think I'm going to have an unfavorable opinion, unlike most of Twitter, in that this is a long-term play for them. But The first thing I don't like about this is I don't agree with the time trials being at the top tier.
No, those should be think included in base tier.
Not only that, I think it's also stupid. I could see why they would say, okay, if someone's willing to pay $120 a year for an annual subscription, they've probably got some money that they want to spend on stuff. Which subscriptions really aren't the case because they're kind of a mirage for the consumer because they only look at $18 a month and they go, okay, cool. They don't really piece the math together in their head.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't look at it over 12 months.
Netflix, Disney Plus, all that shit. But at the end of the day, also, why not just give that to fucking everybody? Because that's just going to produce more game sales.
I agree. Honestly, I don't even think that should be behind PlayStation Plus. Like, I think that should be just something you should be able to do. That developers should want to do that if they have confidence in their games. We've seen where demos have sold significantly more copies of games, or if it fucking sucks, then it ruins the game. So I guess that's where the concern is. But I mean, back in the day, you used to get like a fucking pizza from Pizza Hut and get a disc with like 5 demos on it. That used to be a common thing, and demos have really gone by the wayside for most companies, and it sucks to see because I don't know. We live in that era where everything, gets patched anymore and this and that. And so it's not, I don't know. I don't care for it. It shows to me that some of these companies don't have any confidence in what they're putting out there. In some
I don't think it's that. I think it's
well, I think it's what you said. That's the sole reason, right?
No, I think companies want to do it.
Costs.
I think Sony doesn't want them to do it. I mean, this is Sony controlling that.
To some extent, right? But also Xbox doesn't have much demos either. Even on Steam, there's not a ton of demos.
They also control that too. Like they don't. Right. They're not. I mean, in past work that I've done, they're not very open to letting people play something for free for a period of time and then ditch it. Like they've never, which is stupid.
Most of those demos are not even an hour, right?
I 100% agree. I agree with you. I mean, it's just I think it's just content locking bullshit.
I know it comes from both sides too. Like I know some developers don't want to do it because there's added work that goes into developing it because a lot of times you aren't just stripping a level from something and putting it in there. It has to be something that makes sense to play by itself also. I don't know. I think it goes both ways. I know that the PlayStation does put some hindrance on it, and same for Xbox and Steam and whatever. But I don't think that's the sole reason we don't see them anymore. And nor do I think that the sole reason we don't see them is that people don't have faith in their games either, but I think some people have seen that as well, and I think there is some fear there for sure.
No, correct. I think if you ask me if I would have cared about this if it was 2 years ago, I would have said no, whatever, who gives a shit. But now the fact games are getting more expensive by the fucking year, right? Like there's games now that are $70, $80 sometimes, depending on what you want to do in them. And if you want all the shit, some games are 100 flat out for DLC, season passes, all that other shit. And on top of that, you've got shit coming out like Battlefield, right? Where there's so many fuck ups. It'd be nice to try something out to see if it's decent to then get the full game. I think that it's warranted nowadays. The other thing I did not like is that they exclude PS Vita currently from this, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, especially when they did include the PSP. I was going to say, it could be an aspect ratio type of thing, but at the same time, if you're going to include the PSP and those graphics, then why not include Vita games as well? But
I also, they would stand better, in my opinion, too, on the system of people PSP playing them. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So I didn't like that. I think that they could have probably condensed these down to 2 tiers, to be honest with you, as well, and just got rid of the demo thing and spread that between the two, and honestly probably gotten rid of I don't know,
it's an extra $3 a month between the extra and premium. So I mean, over the course of depending on how many subs they have, I get it, right? Especially because that adds in your PS3 cloud streaming, whereas you don't get that anywhere else. So they basically hid PS3 behind that tier.
That little paywall, yeah. And I get it. I mean, like, let's not be naive. Game Pass is going to have to spin out to another tier.
Absolutely.
For xCloud. There's no fucking way they can do it. It doesn't make money. And that's what's going to take it over the edge. That's really the only things I don't like about it. Other than that, I think this is great. I think they fucked up. It's not that I don't like it, but I think that they fucked up on the fact of when they talk about exclusive blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios, name a few. Like,
right. Throw some examples.
Yeah, throw some shit out there that would be on it. I imagine most of the PlayStation hits are going to be on there like they were when you first got your PS5, right? You still got that PlayStation Plus hits or collection or whatever it's called.
I can't. Yeah. So I'm not super negative. I have no feelings on this until I see game lists, right?
Oh, correct. Yeah, same with me.
But when you tell me there's a catalog of 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits, I can't sit here and say there's 400 games I want to play from PS4 and PS5. And on top of that, they've basically already come out and said that they're not going to be including new PS5 games. Well, that console's not that old, so I don't think we're going to see any specific PS5 games. Like, we're not going to see like Demon Souls or anything like that on there. I think we're going to get maybe an enhanced version of something, like maybe something that's a couple years old. But Sony has already proven that they don't really... They straight up come out and said, like, hey, we are not going to put new games on this. So that to me is the thing that it's not a negative, because I understand, right? I understand why you can't do that, why you don't want to do that, because you don't have more money than God like Microsoft does.
Yeah, you don't want to take a loss, yeah.
Right. So it makes sense. I get it, but that is the thing in my mind where I can justify Game Pass for a year by being like, oh, well, I would have bought Forza and Halo, and that's my subscription for the year, and I'm good, right? So this is going to be a lot harder sell for me, especially when I already own a ton of these games, I would assume, right? Yeah. Like, I already have all of the games from PS4 and PS5 that I really want. So this is a hard sell for me personally. Granted, not everybody does that, right? But
it's also gonna be that shit too, where it's like Game Pass, where it's like, oh yeah, I already have this game from Games with Gold 3 years ago, February. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
I think my favorite thing about all this though is how people will knock on Game Pass and they're like old games, and it's like, cool, that's fine. They're older indie games or whatever it may be. But then PlayStation puts this out, and you don't hear anything about it. Where it's like. But the highest tier is literally reserved for PS3 games. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the oldest. It doesn't
make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I know.
The argument's fucking stupid, and Nintendo fans do the same shit, right? Like, I'm not. This is not me shilling for fucking Game Pass. This is just me pointing out differences in the arguments I've seen across Twitter, because fucking Twitter's a cesspool for goddamn console wars, and it drives me insane. But Nintendo fans are the same thing. Like, oh, well, there's a bunch of old games on Game Pass. You are literally playing NES and SNES games on your fucking Switch.
Never mind that, bro. The whole fucking console for 3 years was nothing but ports.
From Wii U, right? Like,
from everything else. That's it. I mean, it was a 360 port machine.
Right.
You know?
So, again, this is me just pointing out the stupid arguments I've seen over the years, and then people are cool with it with PlayStation. Yeah. I don't really have any complaints about this. I think the pricing structure is fine, but until I can give a positive or negative reaction to this, I need to see the games. Because the PlayStation Classic that they released, that little fucking mini console, sounded great in concept, and it came out with shitty fucking games. So 400 games is fucking fantastic, but if there's like, what is going to be on this? Because 400 is a big number, and also there's licensing issues all over the fucking board, especially once you get into the PS3 era, like PS2 era as well. There's all sorts of problems that are going to present itself that are going to limit the games we can see on this, and that's why we didn't see them on the PlayStation Classic. Mm-hmm. So when they pump this up like this, but then don't even really give any examples, I'm tempering my expectations at the moment.
So I have a dev friend that is unnamed,
right? Yeah,
that is in discussion with them, just like they usually are in discussion with Nintendo for their retro stuff, and for Xbox with their retro stuff, and so on. and the program seems pretty fleshed out. The program seems like they got their shit together. They know what the fuck needs to happen when it comes to the scenario to which you state where there's multiple parties that own something, and it seems like it's got its stuff together. So I'm not too worried about that. What I do think is concerning though is that not concerning. I don't know. First of all, like the problem now is that anything Sony does at this point for the next, I don't know, probably 3 months, because everyone has shiny fucking object syndrome and something else will come out and they'll start freaking out about it.
Right.
But every single scenario now has come down to this is Sony's answer to Xbox or to Microsoft.
Right.
And it's just not, I mean, it's a
I don't
totally
think that's
different
the
thing.
case.
This is like an absolute case example of a hybrid solution between what Nintendo is offering and what Game Pass is offering. You are getting the nostalgia. Do I think that's a big play? Maybe a bit. I don't think it's like that big. I think they'll wear off quite a fair bit. I think most of the games on there are not going to be online based games. I think very few would be online. I think like you'll see Killzone and stuff like that on there for sure, because people love that. Right. They'll jump into that. But most stuff is going to be your co-op or your campaign style or single player shit. And like PSP, I don't want to play a PSP game on my 70-inch 4K television. Like that's not something that I'm interested in.
On my fucking new gen fucking console. Like no. If I wanted to play a PSP game, I would just buy a PSP personally. Or fucking, I mean, yes. I know a lot of people have problems with emulation, but my God, like fucking hell. Regardless, one thing that does crack me up about this though is the first tier is what we currently have, right? Like $60 for the year. It is exactly what
I think that's fine. Like I'm cool with that.
But the second tier is literally just like taking PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus and putting them together, which is convenient because now you are probably going to get more people that are like, oh, well, it's $5 more a month. Now I'm going to subscribe to it. Yeah, it's smart from their side.
That is a good deal. I mean, the problem though is the missing games.
Yeah. Right. But this isn't really anything new. They've been doing this for a long time.
I know.
The biggest thing is now it's a better deal for you, but it also works out very well for them because they're going to get more people into it. I think from a marketing standpoint and from what this looks like on paper, it's genius. Like it is taking something you basically already had and then putting it together. Now, once you get into the premium tier, now you're adding some additional things and some things of that nature that are gonna be more than what we currently have available to us. But for the most part, the first two tiers of this are already pretty much available, from what I can assume. Some of the games will probably change and things.
You're right, and that's the problem. Is like they say adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from the PlayStation Studios. That already exists in PS Now. So, like, I would have rather have seen, like, a comment stating, like, we're revamping the catalog of 400 games or whatever, but they didn't say that.
No.
So, like, for all we know, like you said, this is just a pricing tier strategy with same features until you get to the premium, which adds cloud gaming.
Right.
And that's great. That's great to see Sony get into the cloud space. We also, I mean, I'm assuming that it can stream at 4K or 1080p at least. We don't know.
I would not assume anything, my friend.
I don't. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes because they can't make that mistake.
I would think 1080p is gonna be the highest. I don't think you're gonna get 4K streaming from this.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't think they have the infrastructure behind it to do it properly. Yeah. I mean, even Xbox games, and they have Azure at their disposal, and they still don't hit 4K.
Yeah, it's like compressed, right? It's like
It's like a upscaled to 4K, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I'm happy with this. I think this is the right move for them to do. I think they could have probably added a little bit more information on like some examples of some newer games coming, because I bet you there are some really cool third-party games. But also, when I look at a company who wants to give less information on something like this, that's of a large magnitude of a feature, I sit here and go, okay, there's some stuff brewing in the back, good stuff. Which I think there's more acquisitions. essentially.
Which that's been a rumor lately.
Much
as well.
more acquisitions.
And we'll see what that looks like, right? Like,
right, yeah, no, it's going to be smaller studios. But
yeah, it's not going to be, they're not going to go out and buy something, Activision level because they don't have that money. Right. I saw somebody bitching because somebody was like, oh, well, it was like Take-Two or something like that, and they're like, well, they can't buy Take-Two. They don't have the cash for that, which I don't know. I don't remember what Take-Two cost, but at the same time, and then somebody else responded with, well, don't act like Sony's a broke-ass company. They don't have Microsoft money. They are not broke, but they don't have Microsoft money.
Not until Apple buys them.
And so at a certain point, these acquisitions, like, you need to temper your expectations a little bit because they just overpaid for Bungie by about $6 billion. Yeah. So temper your expectations a little bit. Yeah. It's going to be some smaller shit. Like, I would not be surprised to see them pick up, like, I don't know. Square still seems like the obvious choice.
Seems like the big pick, yeah.
Right? Like, I think if they picked up Square, they would be in good shape, and I don't think they need to blow any more money for a little while. And eventually, they have a good relationship with FromSoft as well. But I can't remember who FromSoft is under. Hang on.
I think they could buy anybody once Apple buys them. That's my theory.
Still on that, huh?
Oh, absolutely. In a couple years, they're acquired. 100%.
Is from so FromSoft is under Katakawa.
Yeah.
So I knew they were under somebody. I couldn't remember who they were.
Anyways, yeah, I think it's good. It's obviously a long term. They got to flush it out, but this is like, unfortunately, people also don't remember how Game Pass launched. It launched the exact same fucking way.
Oh, absolutely.
Or announced, sorry, rather, not launched. It announced the exact same fucking way. Everyone sat here and went, I don't know what the fucking games are. The first year of Game Pass was arguably shit.
Oh, it was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah.
Because the big selling point. Yeah, the big selling point for Game Pass was the fact that all first-party games will come to Game Pass day and date, which that is how they get a lot of people into Game Pass. And like you said, that tier is going to have to change because it's not making money the way it is, but they're getting people invested into it. Yeah. But so their strategy is obviously very different than what PlayStation is doing here. But yeah, especially in that first year, like you said, it was bad because there weren't many first-party titles. I don't even remember what came out. I want to say it was Gears 4, maybe?
Yeah, it was Gears that launched with it, yeah.
And I think that was about it. So
the thing people too are forgetting is Game Pass has greatly expanded on other third-party streaming initiatives as well. So I think we can expect that to happen as well, right? Like, we can expect to have things, a year from now, they might say Crunchyroll is available with it, included with it, or EA Play is included with it, or something to that level. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, something of that caliber can be with it as well. Ubisoft, who fucking knows, right? Like, that, all those things can add to it. Apple Music could be included with it, right? They're in bed with Apple with certain things, and I've brought this up numerous times. Like, to be able to have a deal with Apple for fucking anything takes an immense amount of fucking clout for your company, for Apple to even consider fucking doing that, like, even giving a shit to want to work with you. And Apple Music was not hurting when they did that. Like, that is just that just happened. So I mean, those things can be added. I think there's gonna be some great third-party games that come to here. Honestly, I'm actually happier with this in Game Pass from an industry standpoint as well, because while it's a great value, while it's a good feature and it sounds like a great subscription service, it doesn't collapse small studios out from having to be able to go their own way. Like, Game Pass, the way it is and the way that it looks like it's going to be going, and it could change, makes it that if I'm going to develop anything for Xbox, my really only option is to go Game Pass if I'm a small studio.
Pretty much, yeah.
There's not really value in me launching my game and it not be on Game Pass on Xbox, because I'm not going to get pushed for marketing at all, because all the marketing dollars for Xbox go to fucking Game Pass. And yeah, I'm kind of happy about that because I don't want the whole games industry to turn into acquisitions and then subscription models. Like that fucking sucks. Not looking forward to that.
No, I agree. I mean, that's the worst part about like trying to watch anything on television right now.
Oh my god!
Well, yeah,
you're at my house with March Madness. Remember that? We're trying to watch the fucking Purdue game. I've got the March Madness app on my Apple TV. I'm trying to fucking watch it. It's presented by AT&T. So like CBS, TNT, they're all supposed to be on there. I watch every other fucking game. Can't fucking watch it. I have to download the CBS app. Well, then I can't fucking watch this certain fucking game because I have to have Paramount Plus for it. So then I have to sign up for a free fucking trial of Paramount Plus. Like, it's just a fucking disaster right now. And a lot of people are getting out of it.
And that's the way that video games are going right now too. I mean, like
Ubisoft
has their own and everything else. Like, yeah, I believe doesn't EA has?
Yes,
but
EA
yeah,
Play.
they have. They were like one of the first ones to have it.
They were, yeah.
So yeah, it sucks. I agree with you, right? Like I like Game Pass because it's a good deal for me personally, but as a side for the industry as a whole, like it's a little bit of a bleak future for sure.
Yeah. One last note, and then we'll move on to the next story. The PC thing is the great thing that's intrigued me too, because it's just further sets in that Sony is really interested, and continually, obviously, by putting their games on Steam and Epic Game Store and stuff like that on PC platforms.
Love to see it.
To get on PC makes sense, makes absolute sense, and I actually hope that one point they launch in
first party
sequence.
titles directly onto it.
Yeah, in sequence. Yeah, directly to it. Yeah. I really do. I really hope
I'd love
they do
to see that.
It'd be great.
I mean, they did it with like Kena Bridge of Spirits. There's been a couple games that have kind of been like.
But I'm talking like I want like fucking next Killzone.
Yeah.
Launching all that shit. You know what I mean? Or
I would love to see. I mean, yeah, I would love to see the day when, you know, it's probably not going to happen for Ragnarok, but like God of War launches on fucking PC at the same time. Like, especially since I am now playing on PC a lot more than I had been. Like, I would love that.
No, absolutely.
So, the next big piece of news that we have here is E3 is all but officially canceled at this point. And by official, I mean just an announcement from E3 themselves. Right now, we are sitting to where it basically started. The first tweet that I saw about this and first like mention of it was from a guy named Will Powers, who is the PR lead for Razer America. He goes, just got an email. It's official. E3 Digital is officially canceled for 2022. Lots of mixed feelings about this. And within moments, everyone else started popping off saying that they got emails as well. So yeah, aside from a official announcement from E3's Twitter account or whatever the fuck, E3's not happening this year. Which is also funny because Jeff Keighley, I think it was within probably 15 minutes of this first tweet saying, you know, something about E3 being canceled, he also tweeted about the Summer Games Fest, which was very ironic timing, and I'm sure completely coincidental.
It's I don't fucking know. Like I really, maybe Microsoft, we don't know why, like the reasoning, right? Right. Everything's so fresh. The only reason I can think of this is that Microsoft just said, "Hey, fuck it, we're not gonna be part of E3 this year. We're gonna do our own thing."
Yeah. Because all that was left was Bethesda, Square, Nintendo, and Xbox. Because
Bethesda's owned by Microsoft now.
Right. So that is all. It's probably one show. I doubt they're gonna have separate keynotes. They may still, I guess. Bethesda's large enough; they probably still could. But you didn't have a whole lot really going on. EA pulled their name out of the hat this year. I think Devolver was probably still going to be. You were probably going to have a lot of what was there last year. But yeah, now Bethesda's under Xbox, and it's a very different thing.
In the years that we've been doing this podcast, I mean, it didn't take COVID. I mean, COVID was an accelerant to it, but I mean. You know, like if I'm a company, why the fuck would I share the space with a bunch of other people on a news day or 3 days when I can just go live with a pre-recorded thing that is, you know, to a T perfected edited everything, and I click play on a day, and more people than what attend inside of the actual conference hall, or perhaps more people that even watch online on the time of E3 can sit there and pay nothing but attention to me because they're not focused on the PC gaming show, which that's not happening, which that's a fucking heaven sent.
Yeah, awful.
It's terrible. There's no, Ubisoft, there's none of this shit, right? So it's like, why the fuck would I do it? And PlayStation's done that, 2 years in a row now? They weren't part of it? It was, So it's like, they've got the same shit. Nintendo's been doing the same shit too. They realized, like, fuck it, I can have my own day, my own fucking hour. I don't need to have a whole fucking day of bullshit. I don't need to pay the fees for this. I mean, E3 also fucked itself on saying that it was going to be digital this year.
Yeah.
Like, fucking have it in person. Like, people, this COVID shit is done.
Right.
Like, people are over that shit. It's fucking over. We figured shit out. People want to fucking be in person. If they had it in person, I think it would have had a chance of becoming probably another GDC in some aspects. A hybrid.
I could see that.
Like a hybrid GDC, hybrid announcement stuff. But it's fucking dead now. Probably for good.
With what you're saying too, as far as like, companies wanting to pull their name out of that hat and have their own day, we cover all of E3, right? So we do this every year. We watch all of E3. We take notes. We do after shows. Like, we do a lot of shit. And by the end of it, my brain is a jumbled up fucking mess, and I can hardly remember anything that was talked about.
It is rough.
So when you have so many shows and so many things going on in one day, the only thing that's going to land are the major announcements. Having something like a Nintendo Direct, that stuff sticks with me so much better when it's like a fucking random Thursday in the month of April or whatever it may be, right? That's something that sticks with me better because I'm not being bombarded with so many announcements. Like, my brain can only handle so much stuff going on at once. Granted, we are a lot more involved in E3 than the average person, I would assume, like doing all the shows and everything else, right?
Yeah.
But it's still, at the end of the day, like, to not be overshadowed by other companies, even, one game announcement could completely take somebody else's like mind out of everything, right? Like, Xbox could get up there, have a killer show, and then Square Enix comes out and they're like, hey, Final Fantasy 16 is available now, and now everybody fucking forgot everything, right? Yeah. So it's this big fighting for attention thing that was created in a day and age when the internet was not as prevalent as it is now, and so E3 is not needed.
And demos where you had to be there to physically play the fucking game. You couldn't download a demo of it, anything like that. And now what's going to happen is, which is fine. Jeff Keighley's going to do it the right way, which is going to be, he's going to have his digital event this year, and it's going to be, big announcements probably very big announcements from multiple different people. I don't think PlayStation will. PlayStation's not really friends with Jeff Keighley that much in terms of a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, like Crash Bandicoot, right, was like the best.
I mean, Kojima will be there for sure.
Oh, 100%.
And that'll be probably PlayStation exclusive and PC.
Yeah. But
that'll be PlayStation's presence.
So I think he'll do that, and then I think either he will continue to make it digital, and it'll take the place of E3 in June, and people will have presentations and they'll block it out for the day or something like that. Or they'll do like 2-day digital streaming at a physical location, or it will become physical in some essence. I think Jeff Keighley does eventually want to go back to some physical aspect, similar to the Game Awards, in the sense that there's at least a stage and that people present in some fashion and announce things. And they could do that with Games Fest this year, but last year, and that's a bad judge because of COVID, but last year he was in his house. And then they were just announcing the next thing. So I think, it's going to be more Game Awards-y style. And maybe there'll be an audience eventually in years to come. But Jeff Keighley definitely wants to bring some semblance of physicality back to that. But it definitely doesn't need to be so big. It doesn't need to be in a giant fucking convention center. It can be in the Microsoft Theater, and that's it. Like, there's nothing needed else.
I think you're spot on, right? Like, he now has December on fucking lockdown because he has the Game Awards, and now he's going to have June on lockdown.
It is December Game Awards, yeah.
It's the beginning
of
December,
and the Game
usually.
Awards have become something to watch. I mean, the newest fucking Xbox console was announced.
Yeah.
At the Game Awards.
I think you're spot on, though. I think he's going to have a lot of big announcements at Summer Game Fest, which last year it wasn't much. And
no,
again,
it wasn't.
You can contribute that to COVID, but now that E3 is not happening, there is no other larger stage to be on, so why not go to Summer Game Fest? I'm sure he, in some part, hates to see E3 go by the wayside too. Because
I don't think so.
To some extent, right?
Well, there was rumors that there's bad blood with that shit though, because he did Game Awards and then they kicked him and fucking booted him out of shit.
I know there's bad blood there, but also that is a huge thing that helped really kick off his career too. So I'm sure there is still some sort of like, there's animosity there, but at the same time he sees a avenue, right? Like I don't want to say that he's up. I don't know. Regardless, I think he sees a way to now take over that space and do it the way he's been doing the Game Awards, and I think he's definitely going to do it. And I'm sure in some semblance he is probably very happy to see E3 not happen this year. That's why I was trying to say I think there's some bit of nostalgia there that is sad to see it go, but at the same time, it's going to fill his fucking pockets, so I'm sure he's fine.
I mean, also, like, not to sound like an asshole, but it's also a lot better for us. You noted on how it's not a scramble for a couple of days. Like, that time sucks. Like, it's very exciting. Fun. We really enjoy it, right? But it's also so fucking demanding on the podcast. It's so demanding on our fucking families. It's the streaming side of stuff. I mean, it's difficult. So this is nice too from a news perspective in that we will see more direct style things probably like we do with Nintendo and PlayStation. We'll see more of that stuff from Xbox. Hopefully it's not in somewhere in Mexico with a bunch of people yelling the game title and chanting it, because what did they call that too? What were those little things that they did for a while there before COVID? It's like Xbox something or whatever, like tour or something, or World Showcase. I don't know. Anyways, it's going to be better, I think, for news flow for our jobs, which is nice. It's going to fill the year out because it gets hectic in the winter. Like, it's like, oh my God, Brody, what are we going to do, buddy? Like, what are we? Switch pro rumors. We're not talking about this shit.
Yeah, I can't remember what those were called. I did a quick Google search and nothing came up. But no, I agree. It'll be nice for us personally, but we've been calling that E3 was gonna die for basically the 3.5 years we've been doing this. It took a little bit longer than what we thought, and then COVID has really, really shut it down. I am nostalgic for E3, so it does suck to see that huge like celebration of games.
Maybe it comes back too. Who knows? Maybe something fucking wild happened and we have no idea. I'm happy I made it out to one E3, and even when I came back from that E3, I went, I don't know why this is a thing. Right. To be honest.
So I mean, that's basically where we're at. Like I hate to see it go by the wayside, but it's just not needed anymore. It's a relic of its time period when it was created, and it's just not a necessary thing anymore.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Rockstar has announced and released GTA Plus. So this is only announced for PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S and X. The features of this, if you couldn't guess, it's a subscription service. Go figure. But the features are you get $500,000 delivered automatically to your Maze bank account. You get the everything's so fucking crazy. Principe, I'm going to call that, or Principe, or I don't know. Devest 8, along with a complimentary house special works upgrade for it before it is made available to purchase by the general public, plus the HSW Orange Trip and HSW CMYK Glitch liveries as well. The auto shop located in La Mesa introduces an assortment of gameplay updates from Los Santos tuners. Current auto shop owners can relocate to La Mesa or Mesa at no additional cost as well. They waived the LS Car Meet membership fees, so current LS Car Meet members with GTA Plus will be reimbursed $50,000 during this event period. Yacht owners can upgrade to the Aquarius Super Yacht at no additional cost. The Gosei Frog Tee and Broker Prolapse basketball top and shorts automatically added to your wardrobe. The conveyor livery for the Mammoth Avenger HVY APC and TM-02 Kenjali all have the conveyor liveries for them. Selection of free paints and emblems from the auto shop. You get 3 times GTA cash and RP on How Special Works Race Series. You get 2 times Car Meet Rep on the Street Race Series as well. And every month, GTA Plus will deliver a new set of exclusive rewards for members to claim. And it will be $5.99 a month for GTA Plus. I mean, what do you think about it? A lot of people were really pissed off about it. To be honest with you, you don't need to get it. I mean, there's always that, right? I talked to my brother about this. He's a very big GTA Online player. And he thought that he said he's not going to jump into this just because he doesn't see the value in the beginning of this because they play it so much that he has a ton of shit in the game. And he's like, whatever. Right. He said, but if you wanted to jump in now with the GTA Online, it's like it makes total sense too now that GTA Online is free to play. Mm-hmm. That this makes total sense for the individual who doesn't have GTA to begin with, is just entering into online and wants to catch up a bit. Like he's like, I don't really see this as a big problem. This is a pretty good deal.
That's kind of where I'm at on it. I understand like people who have been playing it forever. There's no need, but there's also no reason to get angry because look at all of the playtime you've gotten out of this game.
Well, it's fucking free now.
Right.
Like you don't have to pay a $60 game to get to a different game within a game.
Right.
Like that's.
Yeah. I think overall, I assume they're doing this because I imagine Shark Card sales are starting to taper off a little bit, and so this is a way they can still get some money from people. But I mean, to get 500,000 GTA dollars every month for $6, I mean. Yeah. And plus all the other stuff, I think overall it's a pretty good deal if you are going to dump a bunch of time into this. At that point, it is almost like an MMO subscription, which most of them are more than that. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I personally am not interested in it, but whatever, right? Like I don't think it's as nefarious as a lot of people are trying to point it out.
No, it's because it's just a subscription and people lose their fucking mind. I mean,
right.
For me, like I don't think Shark Card's tapered off. I think, like what I said, is just.
I bet they've tapered off at least a little bit.
Dude, I don't think so. After they made the online free, I think the whole point of this is that it's now its own standalone product.
The reason I think that it is tapering, this game is fucking old, man. A lot of people have moved on to other things.
I just think that if you look at the story game, yes, is old. So if you take the campaign of the game and it's updated for the PS5 now, I want to say this is the last time it'll get updated. Who knows? It might be on PS6. Right? Yeah. But, that's done. Like, that is done. That's over with. That's not going to be put on anything else now going forward. Like, they're done with that. And I think that was the swan song for it, them upgrading it. And then this is them taking GTA Online as its own thing and preparing it for its own standalone so that the next GTA is just GTA 6. It is just a campaign, and then elements of GTA 6 enter into the world of GTA Online as a standalone product. That's what I think. That's what it feels like to me, at least. That let's segment these out by two things. This is our live service. This is our campaign. They integrate in story in some essences. But now we can truly take GTA Online and really make it, even though they were doing a good job, but they can really make it its true, very own thing. Like they've got Dr. Dre and shit doing their own thing. You know what I mean? Like that's my only take on it, is that here's something as its own revenue stream now and keep pushing this product.
I have a hard time believing that somebody that has not played this game in the 9 years that it has been out And once it finally goes free to play, even though it's been on sale with a deluxe bundle for like $20 multiple times, I have a hard time believing that they went in there and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy shark cards. Because if those people were going to be hardcore enough to fucking buy shark cards in it, they probably would have been playing a while ago.
Yeah, but
the barrier of entry was less than what they were going to spend on shark cards anyway.
The problem, though, is that Twitter constantly thinks that the sale that they care about is guy comes in, buys a shark card, leaves. Guy comes in, buys a shark card, leaves, and then it tapers off. It's whales. Yeah, and the whales stay.
People have probably already been there for years, is what I'm saying.
And they still keep buying shit. Like, I'm telling you, it's fucking wild.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is I don't think they're getting as many of the random. The whales are obviously going to stay. Yeah. That's what whales do. But I don't think
I thought they're called whales.
Yeah, I don't think the people that they were picking up sales, especially like early on in GTA Online, of shark cards because people were coming in, trying it out, putting a little bit of money into it, and then bouncing out.
Yeah.
So I think I'm not saying the sales of shark cards have nosedived. I just think they have started to taper off a little bit.
Yeah.
And so to recoup that, they have offered this, especially to the new people that are getting into it because it is that free to play model now. Or is it entirely free to play?
Yeah,
for the online. I thought it was just
free to play. No, it's spun out as entirely free to play now.
It was free to play on PlayStation. I thought you still had to purchase it on.
Oh, maybe. Xbox. I don't know. I know that in
like
some sense it's free to play online now.
Right. Just to some extent. I can't remember exactly what that is.
Here's what my hope is. My hope is that regardless of whatever the shark card sale stuff has been, my hope is that, and what my sense is that it's spun out as a separate product because when GTA 6 comes out, GTA Online will be greatly upgraded. Both in content, both in graphics and performance capability, a bunch of different things. And it's going to turn into this crazy world than what it is. I think the reason you and I don't like it is because it's too much like GTA 5, because it is. It's the same fucking map, right? I get it. There's some additional things that you can go to. And believe me, they're working on it. They're working on other things that you can go to, but it's done in a way where it's like, I can't drive to that new area. I have to take a fucking submarine, which then goes to a fucking island. And now I'm on the island. You know what I mean? So I think that they're going to really invest a shit ton into this because they should, because it makes a fuck ton of money for them. And it's going to turn, like you said, into the more World of Warcraft phase of stuff where you're going to have these bigger updates with celebrities or with different IPs and stuff like that. They're going to find their way into the game, and it's going to feel a lot more like its true own standalone GTA product rather than an experiment, which is what it felt like to me, and what it feels like to me is more of just like an experiment. Like, we just took GTA 5 and we decided we're going to let people run around in it and have some gangs, and the menu system is atrocious to use, and you can race in it and you can make tracks and stuff in it with, most of the editing tools that they already had at their disposal that they continued to build upon. But that's what my hope is, because I really don't want GTA 6 to be like extremely focused on online. I want it to be a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah. So what I kind of see happening, it is only free to play on PlayStation for a temporary amount of time before it will go to it was only like $10, but it is its own standalone thing.
Okay.
Or you can purchase it standalone. I think with GTA 6, I think you are gonna get that standalone online experience kind of. But I also think it will come with the base game, so you don't have to purchase it separate. Or there will be like a bundle that includes it or something. That way you don't have to purchase it separate. But I do think it'll be like a new map and everything else, and like a new experience because this game is dated at this point. The reason I didn't like or don't like it is it's not super easy to make money. You have to put a lot of time and effort into it, and that's why I don't feel like my time is valued in it, and I'm not going to fucking drop money on shark cards for it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't care for it. It's fun to jump in and screw around for a little while, but if you want to actually make some money in that game, you have to play it like it's a fucking MMO, which is fine, but it's just not for me. I enjoy MMOs to some extent.
Yeah.
But this one never hit with me. But I agree. I think this was the experiment, obviously.
Yeah, and it worked.
And it fucking worked. And going forward, I think it will be its own standalone thing with GTA 6 or alongside GTA 6. And yeah, I think basically what you just said is probably spot on, right? But no, I think this is fine. This is not super egregious. I think it's probably cheaper than if you were to buy 500 in shark cards.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely fine, and the fact that it changes every single month is great. I mean, that's great.
The only like I said, it's a slog to make money in this game, especially right off the get-go.
Especially if you can't do it alone. You have to have a group of friends.
Yeah. I find it rather egregious in the way how they push you towards that monetization of buying shark cards or buying a subscription like that. And that's where my issue is with it. It's not so much this subscription in itself. Like if this subscription was its own thing and you could still, make the money by putting in some time, not like your whole entire fucking life, then that would be a different story. But I do find it a little egregious in that regard. But even then, like 500,000 doesn't go very far in this game.
It'll get you a car.
Maybe. And not even like a top end car, right? Like I'm pretty sure that fucking what do they call that? And not the Avenger, but the Interceptor. I think that's like $2 million to buy. Which is their flying fucking rocket shooting fucking thing that kills you every time you spawn in online. That's the other part that's not fun about online is like all of a sudden you just die from somebody flying by and shooting a fucking rocket at you. But that's beside the point, I guess.
No, for sure. And I mean, I think the GTA online PC side of stuff is a lot better than on the console.
Right. And I'm surprised that they didn't offer this subscription model to PC, which is a little odd, I suppose, but I imagine a lot more of their players that are playing are probably on console versus PC. I think the PC community is more about the modding and the shit like that, so they probably aren't really doing much online, if at all. They'll hop in and that's where you see like fucking Charizard running around with a fucking gun shooting people and stuff like that, right?
Oh, God. Yeah. Good God. Anyways, let's wrap things up real quick with just games with gold for Xbox and our PlayStation Plus stuff, and then we can wrap this episode up, shall we?
Sounds good.
Cool. So your Xbox games with gold for April are Another Sight. This will be available April 1st to the 30th. Hue will be available April 16th to May 15th. Outpost Kaloki X or Kalakai X will be available April 1st to the 15th, and MX versus ATV Alive April 16th to the 30th. Pretty weak month. Not a great month for Xbox, but Xbox has also been pretty weak for the last little bit.
For a while.
Yeah, absolutely. And then PlayStation Plus stuff. You've got Hood, Outlaws and Legends, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I will definitely be downloading this and playing it. And Slay the Spire. So nice. A little bit better than the Xbox stuff on the PlayStation side, but I mean, still at this point, I think we're counting down the days until we're not getting free games, right? So, and counting down the days not for us to be excited, just I think the days are numbered, I guess would be a better way to say it, of getting free games. Right. I really don't see this happening. I think once PSVR 2 comes out, we'll get a lot more free PSVR games just to entice people to want to play and pick it up. But
that way you have something to play when you buy their probably ridiculously expensive VR headset.
When we have no fucking idea when it's coming out either. So cool. Well, that'll do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. Again, you can check us live every single Thursday evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Twitch, and listen to the audio version podcast as well every Friday morning. It's on Pandora, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or any podcast platform that you listen to us on. Helps us out a ton to spread the word of Diggity. And check out our Spawn Camp Co. YouTube channel. Just type in Spawn Camp Podcasts in the YouTube search bar to find us for now. We're trying to get to 100 subs. That way we can get our own URL so we can tell you to go to youtube.com/spawncamp. or whatever we decide as the URL. So hopefully in the next week or so that'll come to fruition, which will be great. You can check out awesome stuff like WSD and Beyond on there for video game and pop culture stuff, more PC kind of focused stuff, the great Kawaii boys over at Bill Bros, just building some great Gundam stuff, and they got Brody hooked on Gundam, and they've got me kind of questioning if I want to get into it. I got some other projects I got to finish out, but we'll see. We'll see if we get there. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching.